Andrew Mountbatten Windsor may have been stripped of his titles, but there seems little chance that there will be the end of scrutiny about his past behaviour. Members of the US Congress want him to testify in a congressional investigation into the Epstein files. Max Foster, I'll try and get my teeth in, is the CNN international anchor. Is that?
They say the walls of Buckingham Palace have absorbed centuries of scandal, but every once in a while a story emerges that shakes even the most seasoned royal watchers. And right now, one name is echoing through the corridors of both London and Washington: Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. With a deadline looming and pressure rising from across the Atlantic, the disgraced brother of King Charles finds himself at the center of a growing political storm. A United States congressional committee claims he has been hiding. A series of alleged financial records are said to contain references to him, and a renewed push to unseal every remaining document in the Epstein case threatens to pull him back into the international spotlight. The question tonight is simple: will he finally respond, or will silence once again fuel even more suspicion? Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. The story begins with a letter reportedly sent from the United States House Oversight Committee, signed by 16 members of Congress and delivered to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor 10 days ago. This letter requested that the former Duke of York appear for what they called a transcribed interview, a formal session meant to revisit his long-standing association with the late Jeffrey Epstein, whose crimes continue to cast shadows across global politics, finance, and now, once again, the British royal family. According to the committee, Andrew was given a clear deadline to respond. And now, as the clock ticks toward that final date, the committee claims they have heard nothing. One congressman, Suhas Subramaniam, told The Guardian that Andrew has been hiding from them. That word instantly ignited headlines around the world. But it's important to state clearly that this accusation is the congressman's interpretation. There is no confirmed evidence that Andrew is intentionally evading them, though it is true that he has issued no public response. The claim of hiding remains an allegation and nothing more. Still, in the realm of public opinion, such language carries enormous weight. And when it comes from an elected official participating in a high-profile investigation, it injects the story with tension that cannot be ignored. The committee, meanwhile, has intensified its rhetoric, suggesting that newly uncovered financial records contain references such as massage for Andrew. Once again, these records have not been made public, and their authenticity is unverified. They remain allegations brought forward by the committee itself. But even unverified, the mere mention of such documents has amplified the story's impact. In the court of global perception, the combination of a royal name, the Epstein scandal, and mysterious financial notations is enough to pull millions of eyes toward the unfolding drama. The congressman went further, stating that each time investigators search deeper, they find Andrew's name appearing somewhere in the documents. This, too, is a claim and not confirmed evidence, yet it highlights the intensity of the political appetite to dig into every corner of Epstein's network, a network that spanned continents, industries, and some of the most influential figures of the modern era. For Andrew, this is a nightmare that refuses to end. Though he has strenuously denied every allegation connected to Virginia Giuffre, and though he reached an out-of-court settlement without admitting wrongdoing, the shadow of that case hangs heavily over him. His infamous BBC Newsnight interview, which he once believed would clear his name, instead became one of the most disastrous public relations moments in modern royal history. The fallout was swift and brutal. Stripped of military titles, removed from royal duties, and distanced from the institution he once represented. He continues to deny all wrongdoing, and every claim against him remains either unverified, unproven, or formally denied by him. Yet, in the realm of politics and media, denial alone rarely stops a story from evolving. Meanwhile, in the United States, political winds are shifting dramatically. Former President Donald Trump, who previously signaled opposition to releasing all Epstein-related files, has now taken a different stance. Posting publicly, he stated that Republicans should vote to unseal the documents, declaring, "We have nothing to hide." His statement, aimed at turning the narrative toward his political opponents, added unexpected weight to the bipartisan push to release everything connected to the Epstein case. And that push is gaining momentum. Both Democrats and a number of Republicans now argue that full transparency is overdue. Transparency that could reveal names, relationships, and communications previously kept from public view. And standing at the center of this political storm is Andrew. If the files are indeed released, no one knows what, if anything, they will contain about him. Nothing is confirmed, nothing is verified. But the possibility alone is enough for media outlets across the world to fix their lenses on the one royal figure whose past proximity to Epstein has been repeatedly scrutinized. To make matters even more complicated, some newspapers have recently amplified allegations that Andrew once attempted to persuade the Metropolitan Police to dig into private information about Virginia Giuffre. These allegations stem from a report by the Mail on Sunday and remain unverified. The police confirmed only that they reviewed the report, not that the alleged actions occurred. But in an environment where every claim, confirmed or unconfirmed, becomes a headline, even rumors become fuel for international curiosity. And then there is Buckingham Palace, remaining perfectly silent. It is their standard approach. They do not comment on ongoing controversies involving individual members, unless absolutely necessary. But silence can be interpreted in many ways. For some, it suggests that the institution does not wish to inflame the situation. For others, it seems like a protective shield. And for critics, it appears like an attempt to distance the monarchy from one of its most embarrassing members. Regardless of interpretation, the quietness of the palace creates a vacuum, one that politicians, journalists, and the public are quick to fill with speculation. As this deadline from Congress approaches, pressure grows not only on Andrew, but on the monarchy itself. If he refuses to respond, it reinforces the narrative, unproven but widely repeated, that he is attempting to avoid accountability. If he does respond, it pulls the monarchy into a direct and unpredictable engagement with the American political system. And if he responds privately, without public disclosure, the speculation will only continue to grow. Inside royal circles, the situation is complicated. King Charles has already made difficult decisions regarding his brother, stripping him of roles and pushing him into the background. Many observers believe the king would prefer the controversy to fade away entirely. But politics does not follow the monarchy's wishes. And now, with Congress seeking answers, with alleged financial records being referenced, with new pressure to unseal all Epstein-related documents, and with public interest reigniting around Andrew's name, the king finds himself facing the possibility of another storm hitting the institution at a moment when stability is crucial.
It's not just political, it's symbolic. The monarchy represents tradition, continuity, and national identity. Yet here is a member of that same institution being referenced, fairly or unfairly, in a conversation about one of the most disturbing criminal networks of our time. The palace may want distance, but the world sees a connection that cannot be easily erased. And then there is the international aspect. The United States has no authority to compel a British royal to appear before Congress. Legally, Andrew faces no obligation to comply, yet politically, culturally, and symbolically, refusing to engage with such a high-profile request may intensify scrutiny. As one congressional member warned, the committee does not plan to let the matter die quietly. They have said, in their own words, that they intend to pursue this for the next year and beyond. Andrew, for his part, is said to be living a quiet life, mostly withdrawn, surrounded by a shrinking circle of supporters. Reports from royal insiders suggest that he had hoped the Epstein chapter was closing, that silence would eventually smother the controversy. But controversies involving powerful figures rarely fade, especially when political angles emerge. And now, with an American committee drawing direct attention to him again, The story is not only revived, it is gaining fresh oxygen. For millions watching around the world, the situation raises two big questions. First, what exactly does the committee want to know from Andrew? And second, will he respond before the deadline? The answers remain unknown, but we do know that the committee's letter cites a desire to understand what he knew about Epstein's activities, an area Andrew has consistently and firmly denied any involvement in. We also know that the committee claims to possess documents referencing him, though these remain unverified. And we know that at least some members of Congress believe Andrew should participate in the interview, even if only symbolically. If Andrew responds, it would be one of the most extraordinary moments in modern royal history, a senior figure in the British monarchy engaging directly with the United States congressional investigation. If he refuses, the political pressure could intensify, especially if document releases reveal unexpected information, connections, or communications. And if documents are released, a decision Congress seems increasingly determined to push, then Andrew's name may be thrust back onto the front pages whether he responds or not. Again, nothing about these documents is confirmed, but the world is waiting, and the anticipation alone fuels the news cycle. This is the challenge facing Andrew right now. It is not a courtroom. It is not an arrest warrant. It is not a legal summons. Instead, it is something more subtle, but arguably more dangerous. Political attention, public scrutiny, and the global media machine moving in unison. In many ways, that combination has the power to do more damage to reputations than a courtroom ever could. So as the deadline approaches, Andrew stands at a crossroads. One path is silence, a continuation of the strategy that has defined his public posture for years. The other is participation, a decision that could open new risks, but also potentially close certain chapters. Whichever choice he makes, the ripple effect will be felt far beyond his private residence. They will reach the palace, Westminster, Washington, and every household that has followed the story of his downfall. For now, the world watches. The deadline looms. The committee waits. And Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, stripped of titles, entangled in allegations he denies, overshadowed by controversies he cannot escape, faces yet another moment where silence may speak louder than words.